It's halfway through July, I get that. But but here's my prep for camp. The camp that is this month. Let's just go. Hello, I'm Sophie and welcome back to my channel, and welcome to whatever this is. I'm pretty sure I made a video like basically like this. I'm not sure. But this is my camp prep for this year's Camp NaNoWriMo July. So, I didn't do much prep at all, mainly because I started genuinely prepping like the last 3 days of June and then finished up whatever I could by like the 3rd of July. So, I didn't do much and I was a little late on the deadline. But June is very chaotic. July is very chaotic, but we're just gonna keep going. First and foremost, like all my stories, I begin with plot. And I start with the bare bones of my plot, which are the Save the Cat 15 beats. I kind of live by those, apparently. Depending on how much I know about a story, I will either not use these or, like, base everything around these. But I've noticed that I'll use the 15 beats for the 0 draft of the story, and then after that, I'll just kind of, like, go off on my own and just plot it out, because it'll still follow the basic structure, but it's just gonna be just a little different. Like, it doesn't hit every beat, but it's close enough. For example, Project What, which is the first story I ever, like, genuinely tried to write, like, with the goal in mind of having a finished product, I used the 15 beats. I relied heavily on those because I had no idea what I was doing. For the 4th story I ever wrote, I think it was the 4th, my sci-fi, I didn't plot it at all, because apparently I had a very clear idea of what I wanted. I kind of just wrote it, and then every time I needed to plot something out, I plotted out and then wrote it. I don't know what happened there, but it just depends on how much I know about the story. So, like for this story that I'm going for camp, or mega project. I'm gonna refer to it as mega project. If you watch my camp goals, you know what that is. I had no idea what I was doing. But as I fleshed out the 15 beats, I kind of got a bigger picture as to what I was about to write. Then, after the 15 beats were fleshed out, I had a basic idea of what I was about to write. I started to flesh out the character arcs and the relationship arc of the 2 main characters. I also fleshed out what happens in the fun and games, because I always do that. The fun and games are huge, and I need to know what happens in them, or else the whole story will be a disaster. I also made extra sure, hopefully, that I fleshed out at which points we were going to be, like, kind of going in on this mystery of the world and its magic, because that's the main, like, thing of my story, is establishing the magic system for this entire series that my friends and I are doing. So I had to make sure the characters discovered it, because if the characters don't discover it, no one's gonna discover it. And I do the plot first because that gives me at least an idea of what I'm getting into, and then I'll clear that up with a bit of character development and world building. So for characters, I've said this before, I don't really flesh them out before the draft. I kind of just get appearances and then the basic idea of what I want the characters to be like, and then I start writing, and I develop them in the story. That's just how I do it. And for this story, I did the exact same thing. I literally just drew them, gave them a little bit of what I am establishing as, like, traditional clothing for them, and, like, set up their home lives in a way, because those are crucial to the story. So, for context, both of the main characters are daughters in the royal families of their respective queendoms. The blue one that I was drawing first, of course, lives in the water, and then the red one lives on the surface. It's kind of magma-y up there, so red. And I designed their clothes on the fly. I didn't plan anything out, but I like what happened with them. I like the patterns and stuff that are set up in those that I can use to then put it into, like, architecture or furniture design or, like, artwork or something. So just putting it on them lets me figure out the appearances of the world, which is always fun. before the drawings, too, I, of course, went on Pinterest and compiled a board of all of the ideas I wanted for these characters. So, since this is a collaboration project with like 10 of us or something, there were pictures sent in our like chat, and I took some of those and saved them, and then some I just found on my own, but then those kind of just served as like a pseudo reference for my drawings. I didn't like copy one entirely, but I just took inspiration from all of them, and I was like, that's what they look like. And, you know, that's basically all I did. Well, I named them, obviously, gotta name the characters, but that in itself probably took 2 weeks to come up with both of their names, because it is not Earth, so they were just kind of fantasy names. I could not find ones that fit for them for the longest time, but I found them now, and I love them. Yes. And now, finally, world building. This part at the moment isn't very expansive because I literally only fleshed out the aspects that I needed for my plot. Those include the differences in the two royal families, i.e. the queen of the surface royal family is dead, so that queendom is being ruled by her husband. I also had backstory on the planet it takes place on, the potions that are going to be used in the story to sort of help resolve the plot, I guess, help the conflict, and the main landmark that shows up in all the books in the series, which is a volcano. It's symbolic of the control of magic in the world. It's very nice. All in all, I didn't do much this year. If you go back to last year, though, you can see I had separate videos for each of these aspects for Project What, because I had enough content to fill 3 separate videos. Also, that was getting ready for Draft 2, so I knew a lot more about the story since I've already written it. Whatever. I'm going into the 0 draft this year. I have no idea what I was doing at the beginning of this, but at least now I have enough in order to write this story, which I'm so excited to do. I should be doing it already. Spoiler alert, I haven't. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. Thanks for being here, thanks for hanging out. How much do you prep for camp? Do you just pants? Are you a pantser? Do you just go with it? You're like, oh, I want to write this story. Oh, camp's here, time to get started. Or do you, like, you need to know everything about a story, about a world, about a character before you can even, like, make a document? Or are you somewhere in between? I'm probably somewhere in between this year, leaning more towards let's just get started. Anyways, I hope to see you in the next one. Peace.